to look at a mother and her 2 spring cubs. This is a bear that just returned to Brooks River from her midsummer wanderings and walkabout recently. I think maybe just within the past few days. This is also a mother bear who was raised herself along Brooks River. This is number 719. And she has 2 spring cubs. She arrived this year with 2 spring cubs. You can see how easy it is for her to move through the water, but it's not so easy for those cubs. And I sort of chuckle when I really shouldn't. It may be cute, but the cubs do have to work quite hard to move through the water. At this age, though, and they're 9 months old, they are starting to fish for themselves. They are so curious about anything that mom shows an interest in, and so right now they are certainly conditioned to seek out fish. Although mother's milk is still going to be a very important part of their diet, but at this age, 9 months old, they could survive without mother's milk. So they are independent. They could survive independently of her if they had to, given enough food. And you can see the lighter cub here with its own big catch. There is certainly competition within the litter. Mother doesn't necessarily share her food with, except for her milk, with her cubs. She'll often tolerate the cubs trying to take food from her, but she doesn't necessarily provide food to the cubs. She usually just gets them to an area where there is food. See this cub with his catch, but getting a little distracted by the other salmon that happened to be in view. And as it moves to the bank, hopefully it'll stay within our view. I know our camera operators are working hard to try to keep them all in view and give us a perspective on those. So they walked through that area of the riffles that we're looking at before with all the sockeye salmon that were spawning there. Those fish will come back, probably within a few minutes after the salmon happen to leave, the bears happen to leave. This is the mother. This is 719. Bright blonde ears, sort of a dark face. One of the ways that I recognize her. She has the tips of her claws are light colored. So that's another identifying characteristic of her. And also, of course, she has 2 spring cubs. And again, that's one of the terms used for cubs that were born this year. (719) has made it through, for the Katmai region, what is already the most challenging time of the year, and that happens to be springtime. Springtime, early summer, that's when the mortality of cubs is at its highest. It's when most documented cases of cubs, or cases of their death, happen to occur in the springtime and early summer. There's not as much food available for those cubs and the mother at that time of the year. They are very small. They're not nearly as mobile as they are right now. But this time of the year, a lot of food available for 719 and her cubs. But when you get when we take another look at 719, if you see her compared to a single female who is not caring for cubs this year, you'll notice that those single females carry substantially more body fat compared to 719. And that's an illustration of just how much energy is required to care for and protect young cubs like this. So 719, certainly not skinny necessarily, but she does not carry the same amount of body fat as those single females. So look for her mother. Look for 435 Holly. We know we've seen her in the mornings over on the lower river cameras. So she's certainly using the river. You can look for number 128 Grazer, who is also been on the cams over the past week, and both of those bears are blimps in comparison to 719. Again, that's just an illustration of how much work a mother bear has to put into, and how much energy she has to put into raising her offspring. But she'll be able to continue to gain weight, of course, just like all the other bears at this time of the year, because food is so abundant for her. If she's not fishing in the riffles, maybe she'll go downstream. She may try her hand in the upper Brooks River looking for, of course, salmon that are easy to catch in those locations. (719) is a young adult female, actually. So she was born in midwinter 2014, as I rummaged through my memory. So she's not very old. Most female brown bears in Katmai don't successfully give birth until they're older, 7, sometimes 8 years of age. But that doesn't mean they can't give birth younger. There certainly have been documented cases, even from Brooks River, of female bears giving birth at a fairly young age, like 4 years old or so. So 719, a young mother, but she has a lot of experience at Brooks River and other locations. You can see she was, just moving around the river looking for that right opportunity. And evidently, maybe not that hungry, because she did not hold on to that salmon that well. That salmon may yet survive the spawn, even though it might have a couple puncture wounds on it. So again, remarkably tough fish. Often, young mother bears have a hard time, protecting their offspring and keeping them alive for, again, a variety of reasons. But 719 seems to have done quite well this year. And from what I can see, her spring cubs look healthy, energetic, and they could easily weigh 60 pounds right now. So they have the greatest growth rate as a percentage of any class of brown bear. Because when they were born, they were only about a pound, and really not very big at all. So just if you want to know what that really feels like, you can almost a baby brown bear you can almost hold in the palm of your hand. They are so small when they were born. Just go to your pantry, pull out a can of crushed tomatoes or whatever you have in there. That's about 1 pound, 16 ounces, and that'll give you the idea of what a brown bear is like when it is first born. So a tremendous growth rate that they experience throughout the year. So it could be around 60 pounds now. When they go into the dens, they maybe closer to 70 pounds. They'll continue to gain fat reserves over the next several weeks. And they're not going to be nursing in the den. So once these bears go back into the den, they're going to be surviving, all of them, the whole family, on their fat reserves. This cub in particular is a fairly spitting image of a younger 719. So when 719 was a spring cub, and unfortunately I don't have a photo of her, didn't anticipate getting a good look at her cubs like this. So I don't have a photo of 719 when she was a spring cub. But this is pretty much what she looked like. This cub is certainly working over its salmon fairly thoroughly. They don't have all of their teeth at this time of the year, so certainly there are still teeth that have yet to erupt. That also makes processing these fish and chewing these fish just a little bit harder for them. One of the differences that you'll see with spring cubs at this time of the year versus in maybe the middle of June or late June when they first arrive at Brooks River is that they're much more comfortable in the water. When they first arrive at Brooks River, they may only weigh 20 pounds or something like that. So they've gained a significant amount of body size, body mass, and that helps to keep them warmer when they're moving through this water. They're not strong swimmers in early summer, so it's much harder for them to move through the water. Oh, and it looks like 719 just charged another bear that got a little too close to her vicinity. In my view, I can't quite see who that other bear was. It doesn't appear to be a very large bear. So certainly I don't think that bear had any intention of really attacking the cubs. But the mother bears often don't take any chances. And that's why if you do see a mother bear, especially a mother grizzly bear or a mother brown bear with cubs, you want to give them extra space because they can be so defensive, protecting their offspring. A lot going on during this play-by-play broadcast. So this has been a fun one to host.